You cannot think yourself out of that drink. Welcome to Sobriety Snippets for Women Over 40, where we elevate our mindset and trade hangovers for higher consciousness. I'm Becca Jacobson. Welcome to Monday in Snippet Land, the beginning of another amazing week as we go day by day, moment by moment, growing the best chapter of our lives, learning how to live alcohol-free. Welcome back to Snippet Land, gals. And if you're new here, then I'm celebrating you because you have found the place to be. If you're a 40-plus woman who's got it all together, but also knows that alcohol is standing in the way of your true freedom. We've talked a lot recently about thinking. In fact, we talk about it a lot in general because what we're thinking will shape our lives. Today, we're going to talk about how having a conversation in our heads about drinking is what creates the problem. We cannot think our way out of that drink. The moment we start thinking about drinking, we are heading towards a drink. Now, what the hell does that mean? Wouldn't we assume that if we're thinking, okay, I'm going to be healthy, I'm strong, I'm not going to drink, if we're thinking thoughts like that, wouldn't that be helpful? Well, the truth is, gals, that as soon as you start thinking about a drink and the different aspects, whether it's I'm going to, I'm not going to, you are negotiating with alcohol. And in this journey, on this one thing in your life, negotiation means you've already lost the battle. We do not negotiate with terrorists. And I think that's a great analogy. Alcohol is terrorizing our lives. And we don't negotiate. We don't discuss. We simply refuse to enter into a conversation with our mind about alcohol. Now, that's actually easier said than done, but I'm going to give you strategy to do that. But before I do, I want to just revisit something I said a moment ago. I said that negotiation means you've already lost the battle. Let's talk about this and why I'm saying that. First of all, what do I mean by negotiation? Well, I'm talking, of course, about the voice of alcohol which is in your mind. Of course, we all know that voice. The minute we start engaging with it and negotiate, engage, in any way allow ourselves to have that mental conversation, we're going to lose the battle, and here's why. When you engage with that voice, you keep it alive. Now, you might win the battle now and then, but you're not going to win the war. And the reason you're not going to win that war is because victory for us is total. Our goal here is not to be struggling with alcohol for the rest of our lives. Our goal here is to build the best chapter of our lives, and that means we never even think about alcohol. It simply doesn't arise. There are no battles. There is no voice. We are free, total freedom. That's where I've gotten to, and that's where I'm determined to get you to. That means we have to stop engaging with the voice. We're not battling with it. We are no longer in the ring. We walk away. How do we do that? Well, in the beginning, it's not easy because that voice is alive and well, and we've been feeding it for years, for decades in some cases, but certainly for a heck of a long time, you've been having that conversation. It starts at about 5 p.m. or on a Friday or whatever triggers it. It wakes up and then the battle begins. Oh, I think I'll drink. No, I wasn't going to drink. I said I wouldn't, but maybe I will. The conversation is so boring. We've been there for so long. You know that conversation. I don't have to explain it to you. The voice says something like, you've earned it. Today's different. Oh, this was a stressful day. Oh, you promise you'll only have one. And on it goes. The problem is the voice in your head isn't trying to help you. It's trying to get relief. And for years, maybe decades, it's been making a compelling argument and winning these battles. And so when we first try to disengage, it's a struggle. We feel like we're kind of losing our minds. And then what happens is we think, Is this what sobriety is like? Me fighting against this voice every day, over and over? That's what I believed. And that is what kept me stuck for decades because I would get a little bit of time, but it would be such a struggle. And I would think to myself, oh my God, if this is what it's like, I don't even want it. This is no fun. I'm just constantly fighting against this voice and arguing. And sometimes I win and sometimes I lose. I'm never at peace. This isn't living. I was better off when I was drinking. And sure enough, I'd go back to drinking because, of course, that's the voice telling me, hey, Becca, you were better off when you were drinking. And it's absurd. It's absurd. And so we don't engage. What we want to do is learn to simply laugh at it. Oh, you. Oh, okay. See you later. Yeah, no, not going to go there. Sorry, I'm out of the ring. You can babble all day long. I'm not going to even engage with you. Another problem with this voice is that it starts from a thought, a matter of fact thought. But one thought becomes three, three becomes 10. Then you're imagining the wine. Then you're imagining relief. Now you're imagining how tomorrow you'll start again. And you've already emotionally experienced the drink before you've even poured it. That's why the drink feels inevitable. I think this is the missing link. The drink doesn't start with pouring, it starts with rehearsing. The drink doesn't start when you pour the drink, it starts when you start engaging with the voice. Isn't that interesting? So, what's the alternative? What do we do?
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
We do not fight the thought. We do not argue with the thought. We don't pull up a chair and sit down and have a little conversation with the thought. When the thought knocks on the door of consciousness, what we normally do is invite it in. We make coffee, we sit down, we spend the next 20 minutes discussing whether we should drink or not. I'm suggesting something radically different here. Don't even pull up the chair. Let the thought knock. You do not owe it a conversation. This is not only the most powerful way to win these battles and ultimately the war, but the truth is, my dears, it's the only way. And that's why I teach my gals in my Voice of Alcohol class and in my coaching programs that we shut down this conversation. We stop engaging with the voice. We could use the word negotiate, engage. I like engage because it literally means I don't care what you're saying, I'm just not there. And I often use the metaphor of the voice being like a spoilt 3-year-old stamping its feet, saying, I want a drink. Give me my drink. I deserve a drink. You did the ba, 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 ba," and on it goes. We don't argue with 3-year-olds, or at least I hope you don't. I mean, that's bad parenting. I mean, really, seriously. We don't even open up a conversation with this voice. When we recognize that it's there, we are prepared. Now, this is the key. Here's the key to how to overcome this voice. My dears, I want to warn you. This is a practice that takes time and it takes reminding and it takes support because you will get wrapped up emotionally with that voice and be unable to stand aside and ignore it. When I say to you, we don't engage, that requires an emotional stance that most of us do not have when we are used to drinking. Our nervous system's on edge. We want to settle down. We're in trigger mode. It's the perfect time of day. Here we are. We recognize this moment. We recognize the voice. And I say to you, just stand aside. Most of us cannot do that. I certainly couldn't unless we're supported and prepared, fully prepared. And that's what I teach women to do. I prepare them to stand aside. And even when we're prepared, we need support. Why? Because we're emotionally wrapped up in it. As I just said, when your nervous system is in fight or flight, when you're just dying to just calm down, just relax at the end of a hard day, you do not have the emotional bandwidth to stand aside calmly until the voice settles down. So we don't resist it, we don't fight it, we don't try to overpower it, we don't try to outthink it. We simply refuse to have the conversation. And in order to do that, I said 2 things. We need to be prepared and supported. Prepared means you've learned how to settle your nervous system on your own. You know how to ground the body. You've learned the breathing techniques necessary to calm the nervous system, but that's not enough. You also need an external voice reminding you this is going to pass. It's all right. You don't have to listen to the voice. Let it scream. There's another voice in the room, and it's not yours. It's my voice or the voice of the women in your accountability group. Somebody else has to get in on this and help to distract you while that voice is screaming its little head off. And when we are prepared and supported, what happens is the voice first gets louder. And that's the hardest part. That's why we stay stuck in the beginning. Because what happens when we start ignoring the voice is it actually gets even louder. It's like, oh my God, it's even louder. It's screaming at me. And we don't just hear it, we feel it right down to our bones. We feel it in our nervous system. And when it gets louder, we crash. And that's what kept me there for over 30 years. In order to wait for the voice to go from louder to quieter to dead, we need support and strategy. And we need to be able to stand there and be calm and determined. Calm and determined. Without strategy and support, you are standing alone, naked on a battlefield with an army surrounding you. I'm sorry for the graphic visual, but that is essentially what you're doing. And that's why you keep failing. Women say to me all the time, over and over, and I've tried and failed, tried and failed. I'm like, yeah, I know. Me too. That's the story of our lives. And we waste our time, but we don't have to. We can not only win these battles, but the entire war. And I want to remind you again what winning the war looks like. It isn't struggle. It is standing in freedom. The voice is dead. It never, ever wakes up anymore. It's simply gone. It's an echo of the past. In fact, someone comes to you and says, do you ever think about drinking? And it's kind of shocking. When that happens to me, I'm like, no, it never, it just simply doesn't arise. And I was obsessed with alcohol. I had a voice the size of Hercules, and it literally doesn't exist anymore. My dears, that is freedom. That's true freedom. And that's what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about holding on and pushing that voice down for 30 days so you can go, yay, I got 30 days. And now I really want to drink because I'm tired. That was a hard 30 days, but I did it. Now I'm going to have a drink. Like, it's just, that's not what I teach. That is not what I want for you. That is not what the gals who come deep into snippet land experience. What we're experiencing is total freedom. And all that requires, it's not hard work. It isn't like, oh my God, I better buckle in. I'm going on a hardcore journey here of fighting, fighting, fight. Not at all. The first thing we learn is how to be calm, how to be grounded, how to be settled, how to be peaceful, how to stand in the midst of that battle without losing our grip. The journey is not a big fat struggle. I'm using war metaphors, but it isn't really. It's just learning to settle and having the support you need beside you to remind you when things seem very, very tense. And the other thing about it is this voice is really a coward. Like any bully, when you turn and face it, it just whimpers and shrivels and turns away. Not at first. Like I said, when you first start ignoring it, it gets louder because it's a bully, right? But the minute you just keep standing your ground, it starts shriveling. But the problem is that's the hardest thing to do. Stand there, arms folded, eyebrow lifted, tapping your foot, going, yeah, you know what? You're pathetic. I'm not listening. I'm not there. I'm just not afraid of you anymore. In order to do that, my dears, we do need support and we do need strategy. I've given you a huge chunk of it here today on this snippet. This is the key to early sobriety. It's not the key to total freedom, but without doing this piece, you can't get there. If we can't get through these first early battles, we will never get to winning the war. And this is where, sadly, it just totally breaks my heart. Most women stay. I stayed. And I don't want that for you. I want for you total freedom. And if you'd like a very simple way to start experiencing that now, the Fresh Start experience is the best place for you. This is a simple but supportive group where we're not doing hardcore work. We're learning this. We're learning how to stand aside when the voice is awake. This is exactly what the Fresh Start experience is about. We meet once a week on Zoom on Friday evenings, and we're together in between on WhatsApp. And that is the whole purpose of the Fresh Start group. It's not about the emotional healing or the later work that you can do. It's about just getting through the beginning, starting to win some of those battles. I put the link in the show notes, and for less than you spend on alcohol in a month, you can join us every Friday and every day in between and finally start winning not only the battles, but the war. I'll see you there. Thanks for popping in. Be sure to come back next time so I can keep your head on straight. Sending you buckets of love.
The modern man is fascinating. He has a standing desk. He takes creatine. He listens to podcasts at 2 times the speed. He owns 3 water bottles and he follows 6 productivity influencers. Then every weekend, he drinks enough alcohol to tranquilize a rhinoceros. If any of this sounds familiar, I'm Shane Raymer, host of That Sober Guy podcast. We talk performance, we talk purpose, we talk leadership, and we talk about building a better life without alcohol. Because the answer isn't another life hack. It's removing the thing that's holding you back. Search That Sober Guy wherever you get your podcasts.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.